very reminiscent to me, Rachel, 2'5", very reminiscent to me of an Achilles injury. Obviously, Rachel, you've covered the sport for a long time. 2'5" and I, we've been talking about basketball and this series for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think without Jayson Tatum, because it looks like clearly he will miss the rest of this series, hopefully not much longer, but it appears to be much longer, can the Celtics come back from down 3-1 without JT?
I do not think so at all. No, and also no. And look, I'm going to do a little caveat. We've had some crazy injuries. Steph Curry got hurt. Jayson Tatum got hurt. If someone else unexpectedly, knock on all the wood, gets hurt in this series, then it's a game changer, right?
Yeah,
but as it looks now with the two teams that are on the floor, last night, Jayson Tatum was by far the best Celtic on the court. We got an uneven game again from Jaylen Brown. Kristaps Porzingis, I mean, I feel bad for whatever virus he has that has lasted at this point months and months, but he is not himself either. Yeah. They need Jayson Tatum to make this team go, and he is not going to be there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Shady and I were arguing about this or discussing it a week ago. Without Jayson Tatum, the Knicks just have a better roster.
Yeah.
Like, if we're just being honest and being very blunt about the situation, we think the Celtics are sitting upon this throne mighty on high. Without Jayson Tatum, if OG Anunoby plays at a quality level, which he did last night, and he also did in Game 1, 29 points, Game 1, 20 points last night, I would suggest the Knicks have a better roster than the Celtics. It's not just like the Knicks are some really hard-working little kid team. No, the Knicks are just a good basketball team. Yeah. Jalen Brunson right now is the best basketball player remaining in this series. I would suggest that Karl Anthony Towns, based upon how Jaylen Brown is playing, is the second best basketball player in this series. Then I would suggest Derek White, based again upon how Jaylen Brown is playing, is the third best basketball player in this series. The Knicks, to me, just have a better team without Jayson Tatum and with Kristaps injured. At full strength, give me the Celtics. But, Shady, I don't know a world where they can come back without JT.
Well, Rachel, first of all, it's a blessing to be here with you.
It is.
Right? I watched for a lot of years, man. You know, sometimes you giving people interviews and my team's losing, and I had to take that. So I'm hard to be here with you. But I'll just tell you this much, right? I had a little of that you and me because I picked the Celtics to lose this series.
What?
Am I lying?
No, you're not lying. He's not lying.
Yeah, I just know matchups, right? And I hate to say I'm always right because I'm always right. But when I look at the game with
you were the only one.
Me and Stephen A. Smith, I guess. Yeah. But the thing is, when I look at
he's never going to pick against the Knicks.
The Celtics and the Knicks, it's just like the matchups. And I think the talented roster, I disagree with Acho. I think it's the Celtics, right? I just think it's better overall. But one thing about it is, where's the dog at? How do you keep going up by double digits, 20 points, 18 points, 20 points, and then you lose in the fourth quarter? It happens the same time every single game. And to come back without Tatum, you're not going to do that. Because you couldn't do it when he was playing. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So I think right now the Knicks have it right now. They just have the it factor, right? They have more dog. When you need guys to step up, they're stepping up. And even like a guy, Karl Anthony Towns, he hasn't been playing great, but we have a good team that's led with a good leader like Brunson, oh my God.
Clutch player of the year, Shady.
I got it real quick. His pops, Rick, I want to give you a shout out real quick because a lot of black fathers don't get a lot of credit. Because it's easy to say, you know what, it's too hard for you, step aside. No, because you're not going to be the fastest, the quickest, the tallest, the jump to highs. And you watch him play, he has the most dog on the court. Brunson's a bad man. I think the New York Knicks go to the finals this year for sure.
If Jayson Tatum does not play, is there a world at least, Rachel, where a guy like Jaylen Brown, where a guy like Derek White, where you could get some more from Horford? Is there a world where at least the Celtics can push this game to 7?
Yeah, look, I do think that when Game 5 is in Boston, that there could be a win it for Jayson and the crowd and all the stuff. And look, the Knicks, as good as they are, Shady, they're not a team that necessarily can just close.
I agree with that.
In that many games. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics win the next game. Yeah. But I don't think they're winning 3 in a row. It is hard to beat a team 3 times in a row.
Speaking of the word shock, then, what's the bigger surprise, Shady, in thinking about this question? What's the bigger surprise? Is it the Knicks' dominance, or is it the Celtics struggle?
Oh, it's the Celtics struggle, right? And I love what the Knicks are doing. But just think about this pattern, right? So if we blow a lead at home by 20 points, right, and it be in the fourth quarter, the next game, before the game, coach will say, hey, look, we got to finish, right? More effort, we got to finish. Cool, we get the message. The same thing happens in Game 1, happens in Game 2. So I'm giving the Knicks a lot of credit because they are finishing strong, and when you need points, they're giving it to you. When they need stops, you're getting stops, but it's a matter of where's the effort at? Yeah. You keep getting up these big points, right? Another thing is last night, the same thing. They were winning the whole game, right? Fourth quarter, it got close. It got tighter. I just think that when you look at teams, you got to be able to finish. And I keep telling you this. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And they haven't been finishing, so I want to give credit to the Knicks, but it's more of a collapse from the Celtics.
You know what I'm surprised by? In sports, Rachel, obviously, I'm sure you heard this term. We said it often in locker rooms about opponents. Some teams are front runners.
Right.
And the Celtics are front runners. And being a front runner is one of the most offensive things you can refer to as another team, because a front runner, when everything is going great for them, it's going great for them. When they are in front, they don't care about anything. They are the bully who only picks on people that are smaller than them. But the moment things start to get tight, that front runner team collapses. And the Celtics, I'm surprised that they're front runners because they have championship experience. Yeah. They have championship pedigree. Right. They have a championship head coach. But to me, they're front runners. Early on in the game, they throw a punch, and they hope that the Knicks will stay down on the canvas for the rest of the count, but the Knicks never do. Even last game, early they threw a punch. Second quarter, they threw another punch. Third quarter, you still felt like the Celtics were in somewhat control, but the Knicks refused to go away. I can suggest that I'm shocked that the Celtics are struggling in this manner, and I'm shocked that they're acting like front runners. Where do you stand on it?
Well, look, and it wasn't like that last year. Remember the NBA Finals? You know, Jaylen Brown had some amazing last-minute shots. Jayson Tatum has had some great shots late. And that is surprising because, look, what happened in Game 1, where they're down, you know, they're up by 20, and then they let the Knicks come back, you can say, okay, that's a fluke. The shots didn't go in. It happens in Game 2. You can almost convince yourself, okay, this can't happen more times in a row, right? That we know how good the Celtics are. When Jayson went out last night, the Knicks were up by 9. Yeah. This was not like the turning point in the game. It was about 3 minutes to go. So when it happens for a third time, that's not a fluke anymore. That is a problem with your team. And I do think there's some injury issues here. Yeah. It's not as simple as they don't put their foot on the gas, in my opinion. I think that Jaylen Brown is still dealing with a wonky knee. Again, this Kristaps Porzingis thing is so strange, guys. He has had this virus for months, and they cannot figure out how to treat him so he doesn't feel this way anymore. Oh. And you can see it on the court. He was, you know, even whiter than sheet. What do you got there?
That's a superstar phone.
Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? Yeah, she's here. Yeah, she is here. Okay. I hate to do this, Rachel. The fans want to know, right? Yeah. They said superstar to superstar. Yeah. Is the Knicks going to the finals?
Ooh.
I'm going to find out right now. No, hold on. I know, hold on.
I think a Knicks-Pacers matchup is going to be so juicy if it falls that way. I think it's going 7 games. I hope Reggie Miller is on the call for every single one of those games, and he and Spike are going back and forth. I give it a flip coin chance.
So Knicks are going to the finals. She didn't answer yet. She's good at TV. She didn't answer yet. We're going to get there, though.
Here's what I would say.
Okay.
The Knicks, if it is Knicks-Pacers, the Knicks will have home court advantage. So Game 7, if it comes down to that, will be in the Garden. And that's maybe how you make it.
So she said like a 60% chance. I gotta go, dog.
Against Cooper Flagg. The question is this. Obviously, as a native to Dallas, I was shocked, I was elated, all the things. But Dallas fans have gone through a lot of emotional turmoil this season.
That's an understatement.
After Dirk Nowitzki brings us our first championship in 2011, and then he goes on to not win another playoff series, we're graced by Luka Dončić by the end of the 2010s. 2019, if I'm not mistaken, 2018, somewhere around then. Luka takes us to the heaven of heavenlies, goes to the NBA Finals just last year. Then all of a sudden, in shocking fashion, Nichols Harrison decides to trade him. But then what never could have happened actually ends up happening. Not only are the Dallas Mavericks in contention for making the playoffs, they simultaneously and in the same year get the #1 overall pick, and they will end up capturing the flag. So then the question for you, Rachel, can Cooper Flagg make Mavs fans forget about Luka?
No, Mavs fans are not forgetting about Luka. You don't forget about Dirk, right? Just because Luka came along.
Could never.
So obviously Dirk won a title, Luka hadn't, but he was beloved in that city. I don't have to tell you. What this does is it shortens the sting for Mavericks fans, right? So one of the big outrage points for Mavericks fans was you traded away not just someone we loved, but a generational superstar. And teams have gone 10, 15, 20 more years without a generational superstar. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. It's been 45 more years since we had a generational superstar on that team. So the anger was you had this thing that was so rare and you gave it away. Well, you know what? By this incredible stroke of luck, they're getting who could be another one. I wouldn't put him in the Wemby category for me, but he is projected to be an incredible player. He's a two-way player, and that is a huge deal for a team that has said over and over, one of the reasons we traded Luka was he didn't defend.
Yeah. To Rachel's point, you never forget about somebody you love. Never. Haven't you thought?
We're not talking about your personal life, Shady.
Sports. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Thank you. Thank
About
you.
to say, what?
I don't think you forget about somebody you love, but you can stop thinking about him as often.
Yeah.
And I think Cooper Flagg can absolutely make the Mavs stop thinking about Luka, even stop missing Luka if the Mavs win a championship first. And if the Mavericks win more championships than Luka wherever Luka ends up. And now that Cooper Flagg is present, I believe that's possible.
Yeah.
Before Cooper Flagg showed up, I didn't think the Mavs were going to win before Luka, particularly Luka on the Lakers. But with Cooper Flagg in Dallas, now all of a sudden, not only do I think the Mavericks can win before Luka wins, I think the Mavericks can win more than Luka wins.
Ooh.
Because what I'm suggesting now is if you have a team, assuming Kyrie can come back and wants to come back and plays at a high level, and you still have Anthony Davis, I would suggest you still have 2 to 4 more quality years of Anthony Davis. PJ Washington, whether he gets moved or not, now all of a sudden you're athletic. Now you're young. Now you have size. Now you have length. Now you have position versatility, whether Flagg plays a 3 or 4. Washington has been forced to play the 4, but he can also play the 3. Anthony Davis can play the 4 and he can play the 5. Now you have position flexibility. Now all of a sudden you look at the Dallas Mavericks and they are a complete basketball team and they're a young basketball team. You're not going to make the Mavs forget about Luka. Absolutely not. Like you can't make me forget about Dirk. But you can stop thinking about Luka as often if Flagg shows up on the scene and makes some noise.
My man.
Talk to me.
Did you see them fans when he came back there? Let me tell you something about sports, right? Players come and go, but the franchise always remains.
Yeah.
I don't care who your favorite player is, eventually the fans move on. But there's some dudes they never do. Luka's one of them. Did you see how they was when he came in there?
Yeah.
I mean, hello? Listen, I love Cooper Flagg. I think he's tremendous. I watched him at Duke. The brother can play defense, offense, he can score, he can dribble, he can do everything. He ain't Luka.
Of course not.
He ain't Luka.
Of course not.
And I don't think that Mavs roster ain't appealing to me. That ain't that. What you like about it? Anthony Davis comes and goes here and there. He plays well when he wants to. Sometimes he shoot more 3 balls than the point guard. Okay, and then I mean seriously, like there's no bench there.
But here's what I'm suggesting.
What you suggesting?
Right, is
because Luka carried a lot of them teams that didn't have much.
If I'm not mistaken, the Lakers with Luka won 1 more playoff game than the Dallas Mavericks. If I'm not mistaken. The Dallas Mavericks lost.
That's a low bar.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
It's not as though this Lakers-Luka team, not to make this a Lakers conversation, but obviously you're well-versed in the Lakers, and Rachel Nichols well-versed in everything. It's not as though the Lakers with Luka are a top 2 team in the NBA right now that the Dallas Mavericks are chasing. The Lakers with Luka got trunched by a Minnesota Timberwolves team that actually looks to some degree vulnerable if Steph Curry were playing. So what I'm suggesting is the delta right now between a Cooper Flagg Dallas Mavericks team that has Kyrie Irving and the Los Angeles Lakers that are aging due to LeBron James, I don't think the gap is all that wide, not to mention last time we saw Anthony Davis on the court, he did give you, I believe it was 38 and 14 or 40 and 14. If you add that AD plus Kyrie plus Flagg, now all of a sudden, I believe the Mavericks and the Lakers are comparable, except the Mavericks are ascending and the Lakers, you could suggest, are descending.
I couldn't disagree more because, well, first of all, you're not having Kyrie for most of next season. And then he's going to be a year older by the time he comes back at full strength. AD is going to be a year older by the time that happens. Cooper Flagg is not going to be what he's going to be his rookie year. Rookies never are, right? So he's still going to be learning and developing and hitting that rookie wall. On the Lakers side, when that trade happened, they said right away, we do not have a complete team. And I agree with them. They did not, at the trade deadline, make a complete team. They had a huge hole in the middle, an Anthony Davis-sized hole in the middle.
That's right.
You still make that trade 15 out of 10 times because you got Luka, and whatever happens to the rest of the year happens, and you have the summer to rebuild. So one thing, we say here in LA is they were, building an airplane while it was still in the air over the last 3 months. But it's this summer that's going to tell you what kind of team this Lakers team is. And a team that has Luka Dončić, that has LeBron James, they're going to get free agents here in LA.
Come on now.
And also, they do have assets to trade. Austin Reeves could no longer be a Laker by the time we get opening day. They've got some draft picks. So I think they will be able to get help in the middle. I think they will be able to bring in some 3-and-D wings, right? Guys who can defend better than what they have on the court right now. And we're going to have to see what that team is before you can start making comparisons. And even then, I would say the first year Cooper Flagg is there, you're not going to have Kyrie much.
That's my girl. That is my girl. Real quick, because that was a great take. I just want to put a little something on that.
Please.
And then you got a rookie head coach. He ain't going to get better? One thing I know about J.J. Redick, man, he might be a little arrogant sometimes. He might be something, but he a worker, though.
Yeah.
I watched him as a player. He was a superstar in college. He was a good player in the pros, but he was good enough to still start. You know what I'm saying? I watched him on TV. Started out a little shaky, then was really, really good on TV. Then I see him as a head coach. He's going to get better because that's who he is. I just think you got Luka, you can start building a roster. And the superstar thing matters. When I say that as in LeBron James, the Lukas, the Tatums, I want to play for them dudes, right? You think Drew Holiday say, well, let me see if I can. No, I'm coming over there because they got superstars in the making. You think they want to play with Luka? I see they don't have no big. They don't have a big so bad they didn't even play one. If I'm a big and I'm good, why not go over there with Luka? And guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a little Luka tax. Yeah, I ain't gonna make the max. I'm cool with that because I want to win.
But the dilemma is this.
What's that?
The gap between Luka and the championship has always been Luka. The gap isn't necessarily a big. The gap isn't necessarily LeBron's age. The gap is Luka and his defensive liability, hence why Nico Harrison traded him. So long as Luka is present, you could suggest, at least Nico would have suggested, that they're not winning a championship because Luka is present. Now, you might get to a championship. He showed you that. You will sell all the tickets in the world. I'll show you that. You might do a lot of things. You might galvanize and tantalize and satiate people's appetites with their eyes. But so long as Luka continues to play the game with the lack of defensive urgency, effort, I don't know that the Lakers will be able to win. Again, not to make this a full Lakers and Luka conversation, but Cooper Flagg making the Mavericks forget about Luka is contingent upon Luka not having more success than Dallas. And I don't know, you think the Lakers are that close to success then?
Look, I don't think the problem has been Luka Dončić. I think the problem has been there has not been another superstar next to him.
Wait a second,
there is
though.
nobody.
What about Kristaps? What about Brunson?
Kristaps was not playing at the level he was playing. Brunson did not have as big a role, and he was not on the court.
Okay, now that's a great question. That's a great statement, because I would suggest this. It is hard to be a superstar alongside Luka because he gravitates so much of the energy. He takes so many of the shots. He hogs. He's so ball-centric. I don't think it's a coincidence that Brunson became Brunson after he left Luka. I don't think it's a coincidence that Kristaps was Kristaps before Luka and was again Kristaps after Luka. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of these players, they statistically deteriorate, Austin Reeves this season, once Luka shows up. I don't know if that's coincidence.
It's the kind of superstar, right? So he was playing alongside Kyrie Irving. And by the way, Kyrie Irving, in my mind, one of the best ball handlers ever in the game.
And he got busy too, though. And he got busy last year.
100%. So it's not that he's just playing next to someone. Needs to play next to someone whose strength is defense, right? There's a team out there. You don't know from football, not everyone has to do everything, right? So if you get a superstar next to him who is a strong defender, what LeBron James frankly used to be, years ago, that's an unstoppable team. And it just is a matter of, can they do that? And part of it depends on how much money does LeBron James want to take when he re-signs. You said a Luka tax. Is he willing to take a Luka tax? Yeah. How much of an impact would that have on the payroll? I mean, it's a little bit weird because the salary cap's weird, but it goes into who do they get this summer?
And I think it's like every team has this issue, though, right? You got the main superstar, and I got a guy's a superstar that's not him. I mean, all the teams you look at, the Celtics won a championship last year. And the argument was, who was the best player on the team? Now, if you just ask, like, talent-wise, it's easy, JT. But when you watch the games, if JT's struggling, JB was picking him up.
Correct.
The freaking Warriors, right? Even though Jimmy Buckets and stuff, they just got there, it's the same dynamic. Even when they win a championship with Clay, I'm going to play the defensive role. I'm going to score, but it's your team, Steph. So I feel like in the basketball world, that's what you can't win if you don't have another superstar.
But here's what I would suggest, right, to Shady's point.
And LeBron is 40 years old, though.
I think there are certain players that make it easier to play alongside them. I believe Steph Curry. Anybody who's ever played with Steph Curry has been the best version of themselves. Okay. I would suggest, though, that anybody who's ever played with Kevin Durant has not necessarily been the best version of themselves. It's not an indictment on anybody's character. It's just an indictment on how the individual plays the game. If you have played with Luka thus far, you have not been a better version of yourself. Whether you are Kyrie, whether you are JB, whether you are KP, you haven't been a better version of yourself. Now, you could say it's coincidence. You could say it's causation. You could say it's correlation. But to Shady's point, to Rachel's point, I'm fascinated to see if with Luka, he will make those around him even better versions of themselves. Bigs are always better with Luka, just because if you can rim run, he gonna throw the lob. But to Shady's point, Steph Curry, it's different when you play with Steph. Everybody's better. I'm fascinated to see if that will happen.
So let me ask real quick. So when Mikal Bridges was with the Suns, right?
Yeah.
He had a particular role.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play great defense. I'm gonna shoot the 3 ball.
Yep.
He goes to the Nets. I'm like, yo, is this the same person?
Yeah.
He dribbling behind the back. He doing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, who is this guy,
Yeah.
right? Okay, cool. Now you go to New York Knicks.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And like his role is back to I'm playing defense. But then when you need me to
capable.
score,
Exactly
you
right.
score.
Exactly
so
right.
I say all
Exactly
that to
right.
say like when you had a special guy like Luka, dog, you take that.
Yeah.
And then you find another player to help him out.
Yeah.
Like Brunson takes a lot of shots.
All of them.
But you see what I'm saying? They formed a team that's why I feel like they got rid of Randall because I don't think you know the role, homie. You want to shoot the ball too much. Yeah, we want Brunson to shoot the ball and have a guy here and there contribute. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what basketball's all about. That's why it's perfect for our show, dog. And then you throw it to me, and then we got the big dog on the set.
So who shoots the ball too much?
You shoot the ball all the time.
Man.
Hey, Rich, I'm like, Rich,
Whoa, it's getting
I'm in the
spicy
corner
in
like
here.
that. I'm like Luka. And then when Chase come on, I don't get no shots. I'm
Man.
just sending picks now. So, and then James Jones, oh my God, Rachel, woo. I mean, he will overtalk you. You say hello, he overtalk you. Sorry about that. But that's a facility.
Shady had to get that off his chest on live television. What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.